What's up, YouTube? This is Just My Opinion, and today I will be reviewing Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon, The End of Day. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, well, this is an old album, why are you reviewing it? Well, first off, I am a fan, and I have not seen too many reviews of this album on YouTube, so I figured I would make one. This also ties in well to my last post that I made, and also because it's my channel. This is just my opinion. So if you don't want to watch it, then go ahead and watch RedTube. Now, Kid Cudi is a rapper slash singer from Cleveland, Ohio. He broke into the rap industry in 2008 with the success of his mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi, and it caught the eyes of plenty of people in the industry, including Kanye West, who later that year wound up signing him to his Good Music label. He wound up co-writing several songs from Kanye West's album 808s and Heartbreak before he ultimately released his 2009 debut album, Man on the Moon. Now, I first heard of Kid Cudi from his singles Day and Night and Make Her Say, but I never really cared to listen to this entire project when it first came out in full until my old roommate Jim put me onto Kid Cudi and made me decide to go listen to this. Shout out to Jim, even though you're probably not watching this. Now, on first listen, I'm not gonna lie, I was not really sold on this project 100%. I thought that it was definitely different from what I was used to hearing in hip-hop, and he was definitely experimenting with a bunch of different genres of music, which included hip-hop, pop, alternative and indie rock, electronic music, as well as several others. He also sang, or should I say he basically crooned and moaned for quite a few songs on this project as well. But I'm not going to lie, the more and more I listened to it, the more and more I began to enjoy the project and realize what he was going for. And ultimately today I love this project and I find myself revisiting it quite a bit. And the main reason why I love this project so much is because he was able to make softer, more emotional, but relatable music that was also experimental and catchy at the same time. Now, the theme and concept of this album is Kid Cudi taking us through his dreams of becoming successful while all experimenting with drugs in order to cope with his anxieties and also fight off his night terrors. The album is split up into 5 different acts, and each act at the beginning and the end of each act is actually narrated by the rapper Common. Now, the first act is titled End of Day, and the first song on the act is called In My Dreams. It's a very dreamy production-based song. It has a lot of synths and orchestra, all while Kid Cudi is singing about his world being perfect in his dreams. And this is the perfect example of a song where Kid Cudi obviously does not have the most conventional singing voice or style, but yet it still somehow works. From there, it goes into the second song, which is titled Soundtrack to My Life, which is produced by Emile. And in my opinion, Emile has been Kid Cudi's best producer that he has ever worked with. I think that Emile definitely brings out the best in Cudi and definitely knows his style the best out of any producer he's ever worked with. Cudi, I will say this right now as a fan, I know that you've had your falling off with Emile, but please, please start working with him again so that you could get back to your old form. Now, to me, this is the real intro to the entire album. It's a really catchy song. I got 99 problems and they all bitches. Really catchy chorus talking about how he has all these issues that no one can see. Throughout the song, he raps about growing up poor, growing up sad and lonely, and how his own parents and siblings couldn't see the sadness in him. He also talks about how he wasn't the same after his father had passed away. The next song is called Simple As, produced by Plain Pat, and this is one of my standout tracks on the album. If this is not my favorite beat on the album, it is one of my favorite beats. I love the way that he sampled the song, and I love the dreamy feel that it gives throughout the entire song, and Kid Cudi's flow is excellent. The whole song is just excellent, and from there it flows into the second act, which is titled The Rise of the Night Terrors. Now, the first song in the second act is called Solo Dolo, produced by Emile, And this was one of the songs at first that I honestly wasn't that hot on, but this song now is honestly one of my favorite songs on the entire project. It's definitely one of the most dark and depressing moments on the entire album, but it is so catchy though. It's definitely unconventionally produced. It has a very minimalistic but yet eerie sound to it throughout the entire song, while Cudi is unconventionally singing. He's basically crooning passionately throughout the entire song about how he doesn't have anybody and how it feels so wrong when he tries to do right. And I love how by the end of the song, he flips the lyrics from saying that he doesn't have anybody to he doesn't need anybody, and flipping the lyrics from why does it feel so wrong when he tries to do right to why does it feel so right when I know that it's wrong? When will I ever learn from the words of my song? It's just an absolutely fantastic track. I love it. Now we go from Solo Dolo to Heart of a Lion, which essentially changes the pace of the album slightly. It goes from one of the more dark, depressing moments on the album to one of the more uplifting moments on the album, basically stating how no matter what obstacles Kid Cudi goes through, nothing will stop him, nothing will break him. Now, the last song in the second act is titled My World. It features Billy Cravens. If you guys heard the feature on this, please let me know. I certainly didn't hear Billy Cravens on this song. The song basically talks about Cudi being an outcast at school and how he struggled to maintain jobs, but he wanted to prove everybody wrong and prove that he was going to live out his dreams. Now, the third act is titled Taking a Trip, and it starts out with his lead single titled Day and Night. If you have not heard this song, I'm not sure how that's possible by now. This is one of his biggest songs to come out to date. It was originally released on his mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi, but made it onto his debut album. And this is another standout track for me on the album. It is insanely catchy. It talks about how he uses smoking weed to deal with his sadness and his loneliness and his depression. The next song is Sky Might Fall, and this is actually one of the only songs in the entire album that is produced by Kanye West. He basically talks about continuing on into escaping reality. And this is one of the first songs that I heard from Kid Cudi that actually really made me fall in love with him. I love this song from first listen. This is absolutely my favorite song on the entire album and is definitely my standout song on the album. Now the last song in Act 3 is titled Intergalactic. It has a very kind of 70s psychedelic disco type of feel to it. He's now taking this drug trip and experience with a chick. At least that's what it seems like. It seems like he's kind of rapping and singing to this chick now. And although this was not a terrible track, I could honestly say this is probably my least favorite track on the entire album. It was just okay, nothing that crazy about it. From there, it goes into Act 4, which is titled Stuck, where he basically is now trapped in this alternate reality and he's trying to find his way out of it. Now, the first song in Act 4 is titled Alive. It features and is produced by Ratatat. I could honestly say when I first heard this song, this was one of my least favorite songs on the project. I absolutely hated it. I was never really a big fan of Ratatat, and also I just did not like Kid Cudi on the chorus of the song. I just thought it was kind of very annoying, the way he was crooning and moaning throughout the entire chorus. But the more and more I listened to it, the more and more I grew to love it, and I think this song is actually brilliant now. It is a great way to start off the fourth act. It really actually sounds like he is trapped and he is trying to find his way back to reality. Production kind of reminds me almost of like someone trying to search and find their way through a jungle. It is an absolutely fantastic track. The next song is called In My Zone, another very well produced track by Emile. This is another song that was very catchy, and it kind of also proves that although Kid Cudi has an unconventional singing voice, it definitely works for him. From In My Zone, we get to Make Her Say, which is the second single from the album. It's the only other song on the entire project that is produced by Kanye West, and it also features verses from Kanye West and Common. Both do a really good job on their verses. It features DJ scratching by A-Track, and the song samples the song Poker Face by Lady Gaga. I thought this was a great song when it came out, but in the context of the album, I really don't know if it fit. It definitely sounds like it should have probably been a bonus track as opposed to actually making it on the album. It kind of sounds like it was almost thrown onto the album just to say that, Kid Cudi had a feature with Kanye West on the album. In my opinion, it should have either been a bonus track. Now, the last song in this act is The Pursuit of Happiness. This is by far Kid Cudi's most popular, most well-known song and his most successful song to date. It has been sampled and remixed by plenty of artists, including the most notable one being Steve Aoki's remix. It features production by Ratatat, and it has a great guitar solo in it by Ratatat, and it also features additional vocals by MGMT, the psychedelic rock band. Whatever happened to MGMT? I used to be a really big fan of MGMT. The song Kids that they made years ago is actually my favorite song of all time. Again, this is a very catchy song, and it's all about how, although Kid Cudi is now trapped, he's ultimately looking for his true happiness, and he will be happy once he gets there. Now, the final act is called A New Beginning, and the first track in the final act is called Higher, which features fellow Cleveland rapper and frequent collaborator Chip the Ripper, now known as King Chip. He has a great verse in this song. Sounds like on this song, Kid Cudi has finally awoken from his dreamlike state. This song has a very smooth, laid-back beat, and it's all about smoking weed. And the final song in the standard edition of the album is titled Up, Up, and Away. It is definitely the most upbeat and most triumphant sounding song in the entire track list. It's very catchy, and it sounds like Kid Cudi has finally reached his peace and his happiness. Now, the deluxe version of the album features 3 bonus tracks. All 3 of these songs were actually featured on his mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi. One of the tracks was Thank God I'm Fresh featuring Chip the Ripper, and another track was Is There Any Love featuring Wale. Both were okay tracks, nothing that special in my opinion. But the third bonus track, titled Man on the Moon, I thought is an absolutely fantastic song. It's actually one of my favorite Kid Cudi songs of all time. It features electronic production from electronic producer No Such Thing, and it has a very dreamy electronic sound, and it's all about how Kid Cudi feels like he is misunderstood and that he doesn't fit in, to the point where he feels like he's almost from another planet. And I thought this song would have actually fit great on the standard edition of the album in either the first or second act. I wish that this could have made it onto the actual standard version of the album. So in conclusion, aside from the fact that there was maybe 1 or 2 songs that I didn't really care for that much, and there was a couple songs that I would rearrange in the track listing, I thought this was an absolutely outstanding album. Kid Cudi was able to find a way to make unconventional and experimental hip-hop, and was able to blend all these different genres of music together, all while being cohesive, conceptual, introspective, authentic, catchy, and passionate. And these are all traits that I think that Kid Cudi has ultimately lost over the past several years in his past several projects, and I hope that with his new project he's able to come back to that form. I rate this album a 9 out of 10. This is just my opinion, and thank you for watching.